Throughout the entire existence of U.S. legislative issues, no up-and-comer has been as psyche-blowingly dubious as Donald Trump. The previous businessperson is mocked by the media as a national joke. A jokester who continually places his foot in it. Be that as it may, at any rate he's not as straightforwardly degenerate as Hillary Clinton, right, if as it were. Things being what they are, Donald J. Trump has been engaged with some truly obscure stuff in the course of the most recent couple of decades. Stuff that is dim, best-case scenario. Also, out-and-out upsetting best-case scenario. In the first place, you should realize that Trump University, too, wasn't a college. This is significant in light of the fact that New York State precludes considering your organization a college on the off chance that it isn't one. Second, you should realize that it was a trick organization devoted to fleecing millions from helpless people, too has been known as a great sleight of hand conspire. All the classes were intended for making understudies pursue costly workshops where they would get familiar with Trump's own techniques once there. The whole course included constraining them to pursue a $35,000 mentorship program. Those who joined the program supposedly adapted nothing past conventional methods and not even once by met Trump in certainty. Too so seriously distorted itself that the New York Lawyer General's office is currently indicting the competitor. The Donald J. Trump Foundation is an abnormal cause. The cash it raises doesn't generally go to great purposes. Trump has recently utilized its assets to get himself crazy gifts. In one case, Trump utilized $20,000 of the establishment's money to purchase an artistic creation of himself that was 2 meters 6 feet high. There is actually no meaning of noble cause that incorporates purchasing works of art of Donald Trump for Donald Trump. This would be a certain something if the foundation utilized Trump's own cash. It doesn't. The establishment is supported altogether by different humanitarians. Bizarrely for an establishment, its author hasn't given since 2008. Rather, Trump has utilized the establishment's beneficent status to get gifts from other rich people, then he parts with these gifts to second causes, making himself look altruistic. He even won an honor for offering $150,000 to a police affiliation. In spite of each penny initially originating from the Evans Foundation. In 1981, Trump bought a structure off Central Park wanting to destroy it and transform it into townhouses. The occupants living there would not move. Trump reacted by acting like the proprietor from hell. For 5 years, Trump cut off warmth and high-temp water, in any event, during freezing New York winters. He would not fix spills. He permitted a rodent invasion to grab hold. He advised the structure director to keep an eye on inhabitants. He permitted a development group to begin work at 7 a.m. each day straightforwardly over a loft where an elderly person lay biting the dust of malignancy. At the point when she grumbled, he did nothing. Things got extremely unusual when Trump concluded he would house vagrants in the structure. Occupants said it was a ploy to drive them out. The entire thing ended up in court. And Trump in the long run called it quits. He presently denies the occurrences at any point occurred. One of Trump's mark strategies is to expel unlawful workers. However, during the 1980s, Trump intentionally utilized undocumented Polish specialists to assist work with Blasting Tower. Trump denies this. In any case, a few observers from the episode, including a FBI source, have affirmed after swearing to tell the truth that Trump realized he was utilizing illicit settlers. They guarantee that he made him work 7 days every week without security gear in a risky situation and over and again would not pay even the measly $5 an hour he was offering. Trump put it all on the line to make his laborers' lives hellfire. At a certain point, he took steps to report him to the Immigration and Naturalization Service and have them expelled on the off chance that they whined. Many were made to rest at the building site. Things possibly improved when the Poles took steps to sue for part responsibility for building. Numerous normal individuals have added to Donald Trump's crusade. The majority of them most likely anticipated that their cash should go toward crushing Hillary in November. Not many of them likely anticipated that Trump should utilize their cash to purchase $55,000 worth of his own book to be reasonable. Some prominent journalists have been known to mass purchase 500 duplicates of their most recent work. Be that as it may, they don't utilize presidential crusade assets or purchase between 3,000 to 5,000 duplicates at retail price. The retail value bit is significant in light of the fact that it proposes that Trump may have been utilizing effort assets to get himself on the New York Times bestsellers list. Best case scenario, this is profoundly narcissistic. At the very least, Trump may have been wanting to take the royalties. The Daily Beast guarantees that he was doing only that, a move which would be profoundly unlawful. Trump has been blamed for lying on many occasions during his battle. It's one thing to hear an irregular site say it. It's another to hear a confirmation coming directly from Trump's mouth. In a 2007 legal dispute, Trump was asked after swearing to tell the truth to check reality of various past proclamations. He ended up conceding that 30 of them were lies, the lies gone from the size of his riches to ongoing business bargains he'd made to the quantity of individuals on his finance. Some were misrepresentations, some were mutilations, some were only straight-up lies. All are presently on record in court documents. This is significant in light of the fact that Trump's battle is based on telling unpalatable certainties. In the primaries, he even tried calling Ted Cruz Lion Ted. In July 2016, the New York Times ran a statement from an individual from John Kasich's battle staff with upsetting ramifications. They asserted that Trump's drawn-out political arrangement is basically to hand the workplace of president over to his VP after the election. The staff member guaranteed that Kasich had been offered the job of VP by Trump. Trump's battle inquired as to whether Kasich might want to be the most impressive VP ever. He'd assume control over local and outside policy. Meanwhile, President Trump's job would basically be making America incredible again. At the end of the day, Kasich would have been president, with Trump going about as a self-lauding figurehead, if valid. This is massively untrustworthy. It recommends that Trump needs to win and afterwards simply move to one side. Besides being phenomenal, it would likewise add up to misleading the electorate and utilizing something as genuine as a presidential political race in vain, more than paltry games. For more than 40 years, Trump has been hounded by allegations of racism. In 1973, Trump and his dad were sued by the Department of Justice for declining to lease to blacks. Despite the fact that Trump never conceded bad behavior, he had to consent to an arrangement that he wouldn't oppress blacks in the future. In the 1980s, 2 Trump gambling clubs were blamed for driving dark individuals off the floor when hot shots were playing. One gambling club was seen as liable and fined. In 1991, a book asserted that Trump said apathy was an attribute in blacks. The allegations go on. In 1989, Trump took out a full-page promotion in NYC, requiring the execution of 4 dark young people associated with assaulting a white lady in Central Park. Every one of the 4 were later discovered honest. An essential capability for president is the capacity to recognize genuine, true issues and jumpy internet paranoid fears. Donald Trump neglects to arrive at this norm. Throughout the years, He has over and over expressed his own faith in absolute nonsense. Famously, Trump since quite a while ago accepted the birth hypothesis that Obama wasn't conceived in the U.S. Trump has likewise guaranteed that environmental change is a Chinese connivance to undermine U.S.-producing immunizations, give youngsters mental imbalance. Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK, and Justice Antonin Scalia was murdered. Trump additionally imagines that America's joblessness rate is 42%. However, the genuine figure is covered up to make Obama look great. For the record, it's around 5%. These are not typical things for a presidential contender to accept. Best case scenario, they show Trump is incredibly innocent. Best case scenario, they show he's effectively lopsided. Trump has applauded Russian strongman Vladimir Putin as a solid chief, implied that Obama ought to be progressively similar to him, and approached the Kremlin to hack Hillary's messages. At the point when Trump was conveying his most ace Putin sound chomps, his crusade director was Paul Manafort. Somebody who took huge entireties of cash from Russia upheld regimes. Manafort was later dropped by Trump, yet the connections don't stop there. Time recorded numerous stinky associations between Trump's organizations and Russian interests connected to the Kremlin, from a few business bargains mostly financed by Russian racketeering to top Trump staff members connected to Putin's internal circle. It appears that Trump is personally associated with Putin's Russia. Time even affirmed potential connections to Russian hoodlums. And Russian interests. Putin's Russia. Time even affirmed potential connections to Russian hoodlums.